Hello there, Lunar Squadron, and welcome back to the channel. Over the past week, we have gotten so much exciting brand new information, content, and gameplay footage for Jedi Survivor that we have been able to break down and analyze. However, today, I want to talk about some brand new information that actually really went under the radar over the past week. Last week, IGN actually released an article alongside their combat stance breakdown showcase, and in this article near the end of it is actually a ton of exciting new information for the gameplay and for how the skill trees in Jedi Survivor are going to work. And in this video, I want to go over all of this exciting new information because I think this is something that you guys are going to want to know. But before we get into this, if you are new to the channel, we would love to have you as always, and the way to do that is just go down below this video, hit that little subscribe button, the bell notification right on next to it. It will notify you every single time Andreas and I upload the latest and greatest Star Wars and Jedi Survivor content. Now, without out of the way, I want to go ahead and just read through all of this information and break it down together because I think this is incredibly important to know going into Jedi Survivor. So the article that I am referring to is the article that dropped alongside that combat stance explained. It has the exact same title as the video that IGN posted onto their YouTube channel, and most of the article actually contains the same information, pretty much word for word, that we got from the voiceover in that IGN video and that video that we already broke down. However, near the end of this article, really tucked away at the end of this article, is actually a ton of exciting new information that IGN for some reason decided not to include in their video that they posted on YouTube. So this really went under the radar and hasn't gotten a lot of coverage, and I just want to go over it and read through it because, again, I think this is incredibly important and information that you guys are going to want to know. This is something that I know Andreas and I were very interested to know about in this game, going into this game, was how the team over at Respawn was going to take the skill tree from Fallen Order and just take it to that next level, especially since they are so interested and keen on taking the combat as a whole and the gameplay as a whole to that next level. It would just make sense for the skill tree or skill trees to also take that next step, and that is exactly what Respawn seems to be doing in Jedi Survivor. So if you scroll to the end of this article, you will see a paragraph titled Stance Skill Trees, and we get so much exciting information. Let's go ahead, just read through it, and then we'll talk about it. The article says, one of the most exciting aspects of these 5 stances is that they each come with their own skill tree. So each stance will have its own set of upgradable skills to help you further develop it. This is big. This is incredibly exciting. This is something that Andreas and I were really hoping we were going to see in Jedi Survivor. We were actually planning on making, over the past few weeks, a skill tree speculation video, and one of the biggest ideas that we had for how Respawn could improve on the skill trees going into Jedi Survivor is that we thought it would be really cool if they chose to have a unique skill tree for each combat stance, since they were making each combat stance incredibly unique to itself. And now we no longer have to make that speculation video. Instead, we're going to make this video where we can confirm from Respawn themselves that each individual combat stance will have its own unique skill tree and upgradable skills. If you remember back to the Fallen Order skill tree, you'll remember that there were just 3 segments of the same overall skill tree. There was the Force on the left, there was the lightsaber in the middle, and then the survival side on the right. It was still all just one singular skill tree, and within the lightsaber skill tree, there were individual skills tailored to the double-bladed saber alongside just the single-bladed saber. So there were even unique skill trees for the double-bladed saber in Fallen Order. It was all just one whole comprehensive skill tree. So it looks like in Jedi Survivor, they are taking that to the next level, and each combat stance is getting its own unique skill tree. However, this exciting information about this new gameplay change doesn't just stop there, because we get a quote from one of the devs where he says, "We throw out ideas and we throw stuff away if it doesn't fit the personality of the stance," Tahara said. "Jack of all trades for single, aggressive and technical for twin, crowd control and commitment for staff. we would come up with ideas for skills, and some skills that were initially for single-bladed stance, we threw into twin eventually because it kind of lined up where we wanted to fit in the role of each stance. This paragraph, this quote just provides more information that we already knew, and we already broke down about the combat stances and why they chose to do each stance in Jedi Survivor. However, what this paragraph does provide us that is new is insight as to how the team at Respawn was thinking and what was going on inside their heads when they decided to sit down and think of new skills for each of these combat stances, kind of what was in their minds when they sat down and were making skills, and hey, here's what this stance is intended for, here's what we're trying to accomplish with this stance, here's what we want the player to be able to do with this stance. So how can we make skills and a skill tree for that stance that will tailor to that gameplay that we think would be best suited for the stance, for the player, for the gameplay in Jedi Survivor. Really cool to get some of these very insightful quotes that we've gotten over the past week from these Respawn devs as a part of this IGN First coverage. I know it's something that both Andreas and I have really appreciated, just because we're very analytical in mind. So it's very nice to see how insightful and analytical these Respawn devs have been, and how insightful and analytical they are approaching the development for Jedi Survivor. And then there's just a couple more paragraphs or a couple more sentences that I want to go, or really just one more big paragraph that provides, again, just some more great information about the skill trees in Jedi Survivor. The paragraph says, stances aren't the only thing that have their own skill tree either. There is a tree for force powers and one for survival skills that offer flat increases to your health, force meter, and more. It all amounts to a combat system that offers a ton of flexibility in how you want to build your own version of Cal Kestis. You can only equip 2 stances at a time, but you can change them at every meditation point and adjust your loadout for whatever the situation calls for. It's exciting stuff, and I'll go into more detail, and he talks about how he will have a full preview for Jedi Survivor throughout the month, because IGN First will be covering Jedi Survivor for the entirety of the rest of February. So we will be getting a full preview of Jedi Survivor from IGN in the coming few weeks. But there are 2 really big details that I want to talk about and break down. First, we now have confirmation that there will be a unique skill tree for the force powers and one for the survival skills. If you add that to the 5 unique skill trees that we will be getting for each of the individual combat stances, that brings the grand total of Jedi Survivor skill trees to at least 7. And I say at least 7 because I would be interested to see if there are unique individual skill trees placed within each of the survival and force powers skill trees, just to see if they break it down even further. So there will be at least, at minimum, 7 new skill trees in Jedi Survivor, when in Fallen Order we had just 1 total skill tree. We're going from 1 to 7. This again just shows the commitment by Respawn to really take their gameplay, their customization to the next level in Jedi Survivor. This is something that Andreas and I are both incredibly excited for, and something that we think you as well should be incredibly excited for, because again, they're just taking this game to the next level. They really care about making an incredible next-gen experience in the Star Wars universe with Cal Kestis and this Jedi franchise. Now, the one other detail from this article, the last detail I want to talk about before I get out of here, is the fact we get information about how you will be able to change the stances that you have equipped in Jedi Survivor. So you won't be able to just pause the game, pull up a pause menu, and just change which stances that you have equipped for Cal at that particular moment. What you're going to do is you're going to have to find a meditation point, and that is where you will be able to change which stances you have. And I'm assuming that is also where you will be able to utilize your skill tree points to upgrade your skills. This is very similar to how it worked in Fallen Order. So this seems to be one of the main mechanics that is in fact returning to Jedi Survivor from Fallen Order. So you will have to find a meditation point to be able to change which 2 stances you have equipped. Now, 2 things I want to mention here just to analyze this point. One, this means that you're going to have to be very particular about which combat stances that you're taking into a particular segment of gameplay, because once you have them picked out, you're going to have to wait until you get to a brand new meditation point to be able to change those stances. So if you make the wrong decision, you're going to have to live with that, or you're going to have to backtrack to that meditation point and change what you have equipped and go at it a different way. But the other thing I just want to point out, for those of you who aren't a huge fan of that, when we were watching this gameplay, yes, it was cut up a lot by IGN, but it really felt like there were a pretty good amount of meditation points that seemed to be available to the player in Jedi Survivor. So I don't think it's going to be a huge deal if you pick a particular meditation or a particular combat stance and it just doesn't work for you. I don't think you're going to be stuck with it forever. I think you will be able to make that change and hit those meditation points quite frequently. And I have to imagine, since they're going for a more open world experience in this game, especially on Kobo, that you will be able to just backtrack pretty frequently across these meditation points and make the changes that you want to make. So I don't think this is a big deal. I think this is actually a really good decision by the team at Respawn to keep this mechanic from Fallen Order. I really just don't think it's that big of a deal. But guys, there you have it. There is so much exciting new information that really got buried and went under the radar about the gameplay and skill trees in Jedi Survivor. We now have confirmation that there will be at least 7 brand new skill trees in this game, where in Fallen Order, again, we had just one. We will be getting a unique skill tree for each of the 5 combat stances in Jedi Survivor. That is incredibly hype. We're so excited for that. We hope you guys are excited for that. And we now know how you will be able to change the combat stances that you have equipped in Jedi Survivor. The one thing I do really quickly before I get out of here, now that I've just thought about it, is within that gameplay in that Jedi Chambers that they just released by IGN, you see the combat stances actually switch. So I wonder within these Jedi Chambers if there will be meditation points as well for you to upgrade your skill tree and change your combat stances. There's gonna have to be, unless you are able to leave the Jedi Chambers and come back. But we will just have to wait and see until we get more gameplay or we get our hands on this game in April. But guys, let us know down below in the comments what you are most excited for when it comes to the skill trees in Jedi Survivor. Which combat stance are you most excited to upgrade? Let us know down below in the comments. Anyway, that is going to do it for me for this one. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, we will see you all next time.